Welcome back to Good Day. It's time for our Mother Knows Best panel. We're glad you guys are here this morning.
Good morning.
So we're talking about money saving tips because lately furloughs have been hitting a lot of different areas. And so we'd love to get your insight on some ways that you tighten your belts and trim your budgets up.
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say to anybody who's going through a furlough, be encouraged. I've been there, done that. After my husband and I were first married, I was pregnant, got sick. I had to go out on DB, and then my husband's job furloughed. So it was horrible, and it was depressing. But we really had to get creative. One of the things that we do very harshly now is we monitor every single dime that comes in and out of the house. I coupon. And believe it or not, since I've started couponing, we can eat more of the name brand than we can the generic just by taking the time to sit down, go through the sales papers, and compare coupons on Crazy Coupon Lady. And actually, we're doing better. And with the money that my grocery bill, I've been able to cut it in half. So with that extra money, we were able to go ahead and apply it towards other bills and pay down more debt. So couponing is one of the many things that we've done to help save money around the house.
And I do have to say on that because we coupon as well.
Yeah.
But I've had constantly people say, well, I don't have time, blah, blah, blah. Well, the SouthernSavers.com has a new section on their website where you can at least compare prices. So if you're looking at, I would say, paper towels, you can put in paper towels in the search bar, and it will bring up all the sales and how much they are, and coupons as well.
SouthernSavers.com.
SouthernSavers.com. Mm-hmm.
And I hate to throw in a shameless plug too, and I do that on my blog because matter of fact, I had a mom to call me last week, and she was like, Bridget, I work, I don't have time to go through. So that's what I've started doing on my blog. I go through, I look at the Publix papers, I look at Winn-Dixie, and then I put up the buy one get ones, the BOGOs that they have, and then I insert the link to the coupon where they can go. If it's something that they want, it'll give them the before sales price amount and then after. So that makes it more convenient because we were 8 to 5ers, and we know how it is when you really just don't have the time between the hustle and bustle of work and kids and family.
But you can save a lot of money.
You can save a lot of money.
Yeah. Did you say you had a resource called the Crazy Coupon Lady?
Yeah, with a K. CrazyCouponLady.com. She is awesome. She has different bloggers. You can create a blog where you can go up there, and if you find a great deal, different moms all across the U.S. are posting their finds. So I go up there. She has a link. She has it in alphabetical order with the different coupons. If you want to find a coupon on Dawn dish detergent, soap, just click on D and go and see if they have them. And then she's constantly putting up the links to when they are money makers, because they do have money maker coupons. Right now they have Kikkoman sauce at Walmart. It's 78 cents. Well, the little packets is 78 cents, but it's $1 off coupon, so you make 22 cents that you can apply towards it.
Nice.
So CrazyCouponLady.com is a great source.
Resource.
Yeah, I'm one of those people that I think I'm too busy to do couponing, but now I'm inspired. I'm actually going to go check those websites out. But I will say that I think the biggest step to trimming my budget, and I've had to do that as a furloughed employee, is that one is you got to have a budget to trim it, and I think for many years I was intimidated to set a budget. I was thinking, I just don't know if I can come up with those numbers. But actually, what I found to be more helpful was I put together a spending plan, and I just set up by paycheck a list of these are all the bills I have to pay. These are the things that I have to spend money on, but I don't know exactly how much they cost. And so by putting my spending plan together, I could project what my budget was going to be over the several paychecks, and that really helped me think, okay, well, this is how much money I have to spend on eating out. The big trick, though, is when you reach the amount that you have set aside, you got to stop spending.
Very much so. We're going to be back in just a moment to learn more tips from our Mothers panel on how to tighten your budget and how to teach your kids about that as well. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Good Day. We're with our Mother Knows Best panel, And with all the furlough days that have been going on, it's been making the news lately, of course. We've been talking about some ways that you can tighten your budget, ways that you can really allot funds for different areas of life. Getting the tips from our mothers here, but we left off kind of going through and just getting some tips from you guys. And so, Janet, we wanted to ask you about your tips.
Well, one of the things that we really enjoy, but we're finding we can't really afford to do anymore, is to go to the movies. I mean, it really has to be, so you're talking $50 easily in and out, and that's if you're really careful.
Yeah.
So we make a big production out of going to Redbox. Everybody gets to pick a movie. We go in Walgreens and we buy the movie candy, and we'll have the popcorn, and we have our own little theater in our living room for about $10 as opposed to 50 or 60.
Yeah.
And the one thing we've done this year, which has been really neat, and because we do have the property to do it, but even if you have a little small piece of land, grow a little garden. You know, twice this week we have eaten completely out of the garden. Everything that we've had for dinner has been things we've grown ourselves. So that's helping the food budget a lot, you know. So, and the kids love it. They love to get involved in the, you know, the planting and the watering and those kind of things. So,
I mean, even if you do container gardening, I mean, you're right, you don't need a lot of property.
tomato sandwiches for dinner one night,
yeah.
you know. That sounds good.
That does sound really good right now. Well, talking about getting your kids incorporated into this, how do you teach them, you know, each month we have this much to spend. Do you talk with them about that and say, you know, we can only, this is how our budget is all the time. Maybe if it's not even tight belt, you know, tightening your belt, but just this month we have this much, we can't buy clothes this month, or we've given you this much to buy clothes. How does that work in a family?
Go ahead.
In our family, I have sat down with my children and said, this is how much money we have. I actually show them where the money goes so that they can have an appreciation for how much insurance costs, how much taxes are, and things like that. But I do sit down with them and say, this is how much money we have to kind of blow this month, and we need to be careful about how much we spend. I also give them, or they make money as babysitters, and when they want to go spend it, I say, okay, well, remember, you've got this other event next week, so think about how much you want to spend. So just try to keep it in mind for them to help get them thinking about budgeting also.
Yeah, and growing up, my mom and dad, my daddy worked 2 jobs, my mama, she worked, and you know, they tried to keep it from us, but you know, it was hard when we were growing up. And one of the things, you know, even though they tried, we knew, and I didn't want my kids to have that same worry that I had growing up, but we do talk to them about it. When they get money, we teach them, okay, you have to set your tithe aside, you've got to put some money aside for your savings, and then set your money aside for what you want to go and splurge on. When it comes to the budget, we've had a family meeting because right now we're saving for our dream home. And so we even talk to them and say, what luxury are you willing to give up to help mommy and daddy save towards getting our dream home? And that's, you know, that has, you know, been profound. And so we don't go into details about the expenses because, you know, well, my girls are older, but my son is still have not learned the power of just being quiet and not telling mom and dad his business. But we do sit down and talk and say, okay, now this is what we've got, and we give them a budget on what we're going to do. This is what we have allocated for this week or this month. After this is gone, then it's, you know, we're through into the next month. Yeah.
What helps too, you know, as your kids get older, my kids love going to fast food restaurants, which, you know, it's not good for you and it's expensive anyway. So, I mean, we've gotten to the point that they're old enough that when they ask, I can say, okay, that's fine, but do you have money? You know, and they pay for their own. So if they don't have money, we don't go, which really is, you know, horrible for me.
It's not.
You don't eat so much McDonald's or Burger King.
Yeah.
But they've realized too, hey, this stuff is expensive, and I still am hungry when I leave, and maybe there's a better use of my money. So they're kind of learning how to make decisions like that.
That's a great idea.
Real quick, some money-saving clubs that you can join, that you can get savings from.
Kellogg's Family Rewards has been a lifesaver because, you know, they have the little codes on the inside of the box. If you enter them, then you can redeem them from higher price coupons. You know, usually you'll see the ones in the paper that's $1 off for any 2, but when you redeem that with the club, you can get $1 off for any 1. So when they have a BOGO, or buy one get one free at Winn-Dixie or Publix, you're actually getting 2 boxes of cereal for $2. You know, Kellogg's, and so that's real good. So they're really good.
The other thing too, if you have little kids at home, babies at home, Pampers has a program. They have codes on their boxes, and you register the code when you buy the box of diapers, and you can trade it up for toys or pictures or gift cards or things like that. So they're expensive. Diapers.
We're going to be back in just a moment with more Mother Knows Best. Welcome back to Mother Knows Best. We're talking about stereotyping this morning. It's a word we've been hearing a lot of lately, and so we want to talk about what you teach your kids about stereotyping, how you handle those situations.
Well, Kelly, I believe that the best way to help avoid that kind of issue is to start from the beginning. And I parented like my mom did, and my children are parenting the same way. We were always surrounded by people of every culture, color, skinny, thin. You know, I remember going to lunch when I was small at the time I thought it was my two uncles' house, and I later found out that they were a committed couple. And this was back in the 50s, you know, so that wasn't something that really, you know, and so we, you know, you just, if you expose your children and bring all different people into your life, you're going to enrich your life first off, and you're going to teach your children that, what stereotype? This is my friend, you know, and I think that's the best way to try to do that, is to just, you know, love.
I think it's important too. A lot of stereotypes are just kind of come through TV. I mean, you know, kids, you had that statistic earlier in the show about 50% of kids watch, you know, like 3 to 5 hours a day. That's a lot of input. And it's important to watch TV with your kids, because you'll see a stereotype and say, well, wait, let's talk about that. You know, we do a lot when we do watch, we don't have television, but we watch videos and things like that, movies, and we stop it, you know, and say, does that sound real? You know, does that sound accurate, or things like that, and talk about it while it's happening, because otherwise it just gets ingrained in them, and you're not even thinking about it.
And I don't think you would find anybody anywhere who would say that stereotyping was good. And I think there are a lot of people out there who think that they don't stereotype. But particularly when you have your children, I think you need to be aware of how you are treating others. Because do you treat somebody differently just based on how they look or how they act? You know, what religion they are? If you're doing that, then you probably are stereotyping, and you're not treating people just based on the fact that we're all human beings.
Well, for me personally, I think when it comes to stereotyping, the dynamic towards that is three things: lack of education, fear, and seclusion. With my kids, and I think I've made that abundantly clear since we've started the MKB panel, I'm painfully honest with them, and it is not fair. I think everybody's been guilty of putting somebody in a category in one way or another. You know, but it's something that it's a fear of the mind, and we have to make sure that we don't allow that to ingest into our children. And I know you said TV, but our children, first, we are their first example. How we react to people and how we react to certain situations is clear. You know, when it comes to the whole thing of race, you know, my son didn't discover, believe it or not, that I was black until he was in pre-K. And I mean, he didn't see color. You know, I was a brown girl, and his teacher, he was always say, she's creamy. You know, that's how he would say, she's creamy. And so when we do have to have those difficult conversations with our children about race, about homosexuality, about religion, whether you agree with it or not, you still have to teach them, like Janet said, to love and to respect at the end of the day. You know, Janet and I, we've discussed certain issues, and we have to agree to disagree, but just because that's her belief and this is my belief, that does not mean we're to bash each other and put each other down.
Right.
You know, I have the thing, don't ask me if you don't want to know the truth, and if I don't want to know the truth, I won't ask you. But we should respect each other, and I appreciate that. That was one of the one things that I learned about her in the beginning, is that we don't have to agree, but we do respect each other, and I appreciate that.
And I think looking for similarities in people, you know, I mean, they may dress differently or look differently, you know, but boy, I'll bet when they stub their toe on the bed at night, it hurts. You know what I mean? I mean, there's a lot of similarities we have as humans that we need to emphasize rather than overlook.
Yeah, yeah.
Is this a topic that has come up in your household a lot, or is it something that your kids have brought up to you, or have you brought it up to them?
Now, my son, I inadvertently brought it up to him. He was in pre-K, and he had two teachers, a parapro, and he had just started. He didn't know their names, and he was trying to tell me about his teacher, and I was like, well, which one was it? He said, I don't know her name. And I was like, was it the black one or the white one? He said, black, white. And so at that moment, I was like, oh, shoot. You know, okay, I don't want to make, you know, but he didn't think about it, because I was like, was she my color? Or he was like, she was real color. I said, so you're talking about, and I called the teacher's name. He's like, I said, she has the long front. He said, no, the other one. And I was like, is she black like me? He said, you're black? You know, so, you know, so I inadvertently brought it up with him. And so, and even with little things that he's faced, even since we've moved here, it was a sensitive topic. his feelings have been hurt on quite a few occasions, but the way my husband Travis and I put it to him, he was able to say, okay. And we tell him, not all people think the same way. You know, they've encountered kids that are homosexual. You know, our household, you know, we don't believe it, but we don't treat them differently. I mean, they're still people. That's, you know, that's, people don't, if you don't agree with the lifestyle, that does not mean that you bash them or put them away. You still love them. And just love the love of God, and everything else will fall into place.
Very good. We're going to be back in just a moment with more Mother Knows Best. Stay with us. Mother Knows Best panel, and we've been talking about many different things this morning, but we want to talk now about safety. If your kid has to walk home from school or walk home from a friend's house, what do you teach your children when they're by themselves? What are some things that they need to remember? How do you handle it?
I always tell my kids, never get in the car with anybody. Don't let anybody get close to you while you are going by. Particularly, and I say no matter what they say, because many times a perpetrator will say, oh, your mother sent me, or you better get in this car with me right now, and because kids are used to responding to an authority figure. We've talked about it during the break, and many of us have code words. My kids have a code word. If Mama sent that person for you, they will know what the code word is. So that's pretty much how we try and keep them safe.
But it's important to teach them that, because just this morning I was reading an article, and I think it was like 80% of child abductions are prevented by the kids themselves because they know how to react in it. So it's really important to teach your kids how to do that.
Yeah, and one thing too that I think parents, and I see this a lot, when your children are walking home, teach them the proper way to walk. You're actually supposed to walk in the direction of oncoming traffic, you know, on the wrong side, so that you can switch back and forth and know what's coming up behind you. With my children too, thank God that's never happened. We did have a relative that was almost abducted, and we learned from her, because when the person tried to grab her, she zigzagged while she was running, and she was, you know, screaming and zigzagging, and my children asked, well, why did she zigzag? And I was like, well, just in case he had a gun, you know, bullets don't zigzag. And another thing too, parents, you have all of these old cell phones that you have around the house that, you know, when Verizon or whoever it is, you know, send you your new phone, those phones are still valuable, because even if your child does not have a cell phone that's working, the 911 feature always works.
With the battery charge.
With the battery charge. Yeah, it's not going to work if the battery's not charged. And so, yeah, I'm glad that you said that. But, you know, with the battery charge, the 911 feature always works. So even if you don't agree to giving your child a cell phone, that 911 feature is a reason to let them have that one.
Give them the old one.
The old one, exactly.
And I think you need to take it a step further, because I was horrified. I watched one of these news shows that these parents said, okay, we'll let our children be part of this experiment. We've had the talk with our children. Our children know to never talk to strangers. And I think it was in Central Park, and this man went up to each one of these children individually and said, I've lost my puppy. I've lost my puppy. I'm so upset. I've lost my puppy. And every single one of these children went off with this man into the park to help him find his puppy. And these were children who had all had the talk. So I think you do have to, but you want to find that balance where you don't terrify them, but they have to know that there are people that will use things that are going to touch your heart, and maybe use that to lure you away from your family. So.
Well, these have been some wonderful topics. Any last minute tips of specific things that you teach your kids on being safe when they're alone?
Never worry about, being, overlooking. If you think that you're in danger, call me or call 911. Better safe than sorry.
And Janet's point about don't try and over-traumatize your child. I think if you stress to them that we're just trying to keep you safe. We're just trying to keep you safe.
And we've always had a rule, if they are home alone, not to answer the door, or, anything like that. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for talking with us this morning. Really good conversations. If you have a topic idea that you'd like for us to discuss, let us know. You can email mothers@wfxl.com to find out more about our panel. And Mother Knows Best, you can go to mysouthwestga.com/Mother Knows Best. And we're going to be back in the morning at 5 a.m. with more Good Day. Y'all have a great Thursday.